Hello, hello. This is Jerry Valdez, and my recent adventures into astrophotography took me out to a place called Alpha Scorpii for the first Alpha Scorpii Palooza, where I imaged part of the M81 Galaxy group. So what is Alpha Scorpii? It's a dark sky site located in Arizona. It's owned by Jason Trevino from the YouTube channel AZ4Runner. Alpha Scorpii Palooza was a star party where several other astrophotographers joined Jason and his good friend Isaac Armas, who also has his own YouTube channel called Iceman Astro. But more on all that later. First, I need to take us to a dark sky location called Tierra del Sol to go over the gear and capture the first set of data. Okay, this was the first night out using my H-calorie diesel heater powered by an XCNY 12 volt 20 amp hour LiFePO4 battery. It ran great and kept the ARB Deluxe tent warm all night. Another first was the Anchor 757 power station. It's rated for 1,229 watt hours and powered my entire telescope rig. For the AP setup, scope is a Celestron 9¼ Edge HD with a version 4 Hyperstar in the front. This provided 525mm focal length at f2.2. The imaging camera is an ASI 071 MC Pro. Focuser is a Celestron focus motor. For guiding, I used a William Optics 32mm uniguide scope and an ASI 224 MC camera. I have a simple custom carbon fiber plate I made that sits on the top rail and holds a router, a Minix computer, and a Pegasus Micro Pocket Power Box. All this weighs approximately 34 pounds and is the payload for the Celestron CGX mount, which is rated for 55 pounds. Primary software that runs on the Minix computer is CPWI, Nina, and PhD. I do use some of the apps in the ASI Studio during polar alignment and for viewing fit files. Last but not least is my Space Hauler, or the Deep Space Transporter, my 2002 Jeep Liberty KJ with over 200,000 miles. That's the setup. Time to get imaging. It took a bit, but I was able to complete a star alignment, 2 polar alignments, collimation, and guiding calibration with a guiding assistance run. Burned the first half of the night to complete all that. I think it was around 1 a.m. when I finally started the imaging sequence. These were 90-second subs with a dither every 2. After dropping the bad images, I ended up with around an hour and 15 minutes worth of usable data. Not as much time on target as I would have liked, but happy to get what I got. I knew I still had another dark sky to visit. Okay, I survived the night, and my anchor did too. Just under 50%. Just under 50%. So I used more than I actually thought I would, but I was slewing that thing that mount around like crazy. I lost half the night just trying to line and polar line and whatnot. The diesel heater's still running actually, so that battery's still going. And right now, heating myself up a little cup of joe. So I'm just reheating the thermos coffee up, nothing fancy. But it'll get me moving here so I can start packing all my gear up. Temperature wise, it got to, I would say, the high 30s last night. I checked this once and it was 42. That was early in the evening. Right now it's 50 degrees. And the first leg of this adventure is done. After a day of rest and recharge, I was back on the road heading to Alpha Scorpii. It was a 4-hour drive from San Diego, California to the meetup location. From there, Jason led and escorted us across the desert to the remote location east of Yuma, Arizona. The dirt roads are well established at first, but eventually fade, so I just followed the cloud of dust directly in front of me. Welcome to Alpha Scorpii Dark Sky Observation Site. As I mentioned earlier, this is owned by Jason Trevino. He and Isaac regularly image from here, and those trips are well documented on each of their YouTube channels. This is truly a remote location. No power provisions, so you pack in what you need, and then you pack it out to leave no trace. I mentioned Alpha Scorpii Palooza was a star party. This was truly a fun event. Jason live streamed and grilled up some burgers and hot dogs. Getting to meet everyone and learn a bit more about them and their setups was pretty cool. Attendees included Mike Rushalko, Dave Cote from the YouTube channel Urban Astro, Michael Grimes from the YouTube channel Nightspeed, photographer Bob Fugate, and myself. We were all fortunate enough to join Jason and Isaac. All these guys are serious imagers, do amazing work, and were a lot of fun to hang out with. I didn't capture it on video, but each of their setups were very impressive. Links to their channels will be in the video description. My Astro setup was the same as before. The temperatures out here were much warmer, so I didn't bring the diesel heater or use the ARB awning tent. Instead, I opted for the camping tent cot, which is much easier to set up and tear down and perfect for this situation. Jason was kind enough to supply pavers for tripods if folks needed, so that was one less thing I needed to pack. Desert sunsets can be epic. It's also true that sunsets wait for no one, and I was neither prepared or even had a plan, but I had to capture what I was seeing. In a scramble, I was able to set up the tripod and camera for an 8-panel panoramic shot. Okay, as much as I like a cloudy, fiery, biblical-looking sunset, clouds and deep sky astrophotography do not mix. And while we have control over our gear, we do not have control over the weather. Unfortunately, much of the night there was slow-moving clouds. Some areas of the sky were far worse than others, and it was pretty late before I was able to start my session run. However, even with a thin layer of clouds, I wouldn't be going home empty-handed.
What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle.
Okay, it is 11:06, and it's, let me read this, 76 degrees with about 2 knots of wind, give or take a little bit. It kind of moves around. I am doing some guiding assistant tool right now. Okay, it finished, and there's my backlash results. And I went in and applied these, but I think those were already set. Those are the values. So it's guiding. It's guiding. It's guiding. I'm gonna clear these. Clear all this stuff. Clear that. Clear that. Okay.
That's only part of the
So I was able to use about 50 minutes of the Alpha Scorpii data. Even with the previous TDS data set and some additional data that I got on a subsequent TDS trip, I ended up with only 3 hours and 15 minutes of total time. My goal was to capture more detail than what my results show, so I'll build on this project over time. Alpha Scorpii is an amazing place, and I'm truly grateful for the invite. It was well worth the trek out to meet everyone. Jason, Isaac, Bob, Dave, Michael, and Mike. A great bunch of guys, and I hope to meet up again sometime. Maybe for the next Alpha Scorpii Palooza.
There's nothing short of a miracle.
Listo, we are finished. Everybody was up at the crack of dawn and busting down their gear and equipment. And I think Jason's calling this Alpha Scorpii Palooza, and it's officially over, you could say. We're coming to an end here real quick. But check out these mountains. That's beautiful.